Hello, everybody. Hopefully, I've got a bunch of blokes that are starting to watch this now, or at some point in time, and getting some sort of value from these videos. So, drop a comment if you're watching, if you're interested, you want to find out more about farms, you want to find out more about doing stuff that you just enjoy, that you love, and you're sick of living a life that you don't think super fulfilling. Not saying mine's perfect by any stretch, but I certainly do everything I can to constantly chase things that excite me, things that I enjoy. And this video we're going to go through now is one that's actually got views from the recent stuff that's gone up. So we're going to watch that. I'll do a reaction, talk about what's going on in that. And we're looking at how some of the ways that farms are operated in Australia, what some of the practices are. I'm going to go over some of the misconceptions that I had as well before I went and actually did this. So let's make it a bit bigger and get stuck in.
These mobs on bikes, finding them through this shit.
This is super cool. So this is like super outback Australia in the desert, almost in the middle of the country, far western New South Wales, but the dirt is just this beautiful red, and you've got these. Everything looks dead, but there's a really strange sense of life there. It's quite interesting.
It's interesting, but and sell off a bunch of these cows and that poly tanks where they get some water. So that's quite nice. Boys up in the plains, so they fly along.
So hold on, you see. Boom. So that's a gyrocopter. I don't know, one of the two. And so what we're doing when we're chasing these cows or catching these cows, they're in these massive paddocks, right? As you can see, this. So
and they get them out of the scrub and sort of get them moving, and then we get them on the.
And this paddock to go from one end to the other takes like 20, 30 minutes on a bike, right? Oh, maybe not that long. If you're on the roads, you can probably do it in 10. But if you're going through the scrub, 20, 30 minutes to get to the end, on whether you're going sideways, whether you're going up and down, whatever. And they've got all these cows there that are going through and eating all the feed that's there. So we've got to go through and catch them so they can put them all together, sort them all out, sell the ones off they're selling, keep the ones that they're keeping, check the ones that are pregnant, check the ones that aren't, all that sort of stuff. It's super fun, really enjoyable.
Ground and pushing along on the ground. A few hundred to get here. Old mate out the back's having a bonk.
There was a cow having sex here somewhere. I don't know where it is. I could see it. It might be over there. It's a bit funny that you're saying.
It's pretty funny, but it's pretty dense scrub here, different to the other stuff. Grass stuff here that's just like strawy. But look at this. This looks like bloody coral in my mind.
That was actually something that really intrigued me about out there is the ground. So when you're driving around looking at all this stuff, the appearance isn't just like I don't know. I've done a little bit of diving, and it very much reminds me of if you took all the water out of the ocean, a lot of the stuff in the desert in Australia and how it sort of pops out would be very much like what's under the ocean, because most of the ocean doesn't have coral reefs and all that. It's just sand, which would be like desert. And then you get to these parts where it's just like heaps of life, and it's like, wow, it's really cool. So that's sort of how I viewed a lot of that out there, which was quite interesting to me. I didn't expect to see that. And these things here have so much liquid in them because obviously there's not a lot of water out there, right? But the animals are out there eating. So these bushes that survive, it's like they suck every ounce of water out of the ground and they just store it in them, like they're sort of the Earth's drink bottles. That's how I sort of looked at it. It's crazy.
But check this out. So that bit there. Yeah. Squeeze it. The amount of liquid.
Enormous amount of liquid.
Oh, that must have been old mate trying to escape again. That's why the engines are going. But I do find some of these plants interesting. These are the weaners. So these ones will be getting sold. The weaners meaning they've just come off, been calved by their mum, so they're not calves anymore. So we're trying to wean them off the mum and Did the same thing with sheep. We had this one at the back
Bit
here
longer.
somewhere over here. It was constantly trying to run back to its mum. We're like, bro, stop. You're out now. You're grown up. Get out of the house. It's like a teenager who won't leave. For me, it's interesting because I'm looking at it from what would be the best to sort of invest in.
So this whole thing for me started. I had my business teaching self-defense in person. I was doing kids program that I had when the government decided it would be a good idea to force people to stop working in their businesses, force clients to stop going to their businesses. I sort of thought, fuck that. And I got to a point where I decided I didn't want to contribute to Australia anymore after reading the book Atlas Shrugged, which if you're watching this and you're following my stuff, you will connect very, very strongly with that book. That book completely changed my life, not because it really presented anything new to me. It just organized the ideas I already had in my head into a way that just a really clear format. So I really strongly recommend that book if you're watching this. I decided to leave, and one of my goals, like longer term goals, like a 10-year goal when I was like 40, was to go and do some farm work, own farms, work on farms. And I thought, well, look, if I'm not able to leave the country right now, which I wasn't able to leave Australia at that point in time, then what was the job or what was the work I could do where I was contributing as little as possible to the country, because I didn't want to put anything back into Australia, nothing positive into the country. So what was the job I could do which gave as little back to the country as possible, but gave me a really, really good skill that was going to be really beneficial to me? And farming was a great way because it doesn't pay a lot at all. It's close to probably the lowest paying job that I've ever had. Really enjoyable though. Most of the time, I didn't like the food, and there would be some of the people were really cool, but in country towns, they're all really nice. They're very, very nice, but they can be a little closed-minded. Some of them, I guess, not all of them, but some of them, just in the way that they think and analyze, just very much in the run of how they've always done things is how we're always going to do things. I don't agree with that. I think it's always about trying to find better ways to do it. So this was like a year which was last year now, where I just went and looked at, okay, cool, what can I learn from this? It was like a paid education for me. What can I learn from this that's going to make me money later on? As a result, I've got a little farm now, my goats, which there'll be videos of goats on here, but not my farm of goats, which I'll have videos of later on. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, basically I took this skill set in this year, this time that I had in Australia, that I was definitely still going to be there to go and learn this skill. And when I could get out of Australia, I did. Once I had a property deal that needed to close, so sealed that, and then made my move pretty quickly after that, which was good. Let's keep going.
And I like making the most money with the least amount of effort. I think
really important point. I don't think just going out and working super hard is the best way to go by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's finding the most efficient way to do it. So it's not necessarily about being lazy. You have to be very creative, but it's mental. So if you, the way I was sort of looking at the farm, I worked with goats, I worked with cows, I worked with sheep, and I was very nosy in asking the numbers and what was the profit, how to sort of do it. And obviously I was working with sheep, so I got a very, very good idea about how much effort and work was involved with sheep. The downside when it comes to animals, when it comes to fencing, when it comes to breeding, when it comes to shearing, like all these things that you got to manage. And then we worked with goats just for very brief periods because they're sort of wild, and then looked at the downside of those and the plus side. Did some work with cattle, same thing. What's the downside? What's the upside? And I played around with the numbers in my head, and to me, the cows make the second most sense. Goats make a lot of sense. I think goats and cows together are really, really good balances for each other. Sheep, absolute pain in the ass, enormous amount of work, and you don't make any more money. Like it's very similar income to either of the other two, but your workload's probably about 2 or 3 times as intense. That doesn't make sense to me. So it's like, it would be like if someone gave you the opportunity, they're like, righto, here's $100,000, here's $100,000, here's $100,000. You have to run 100 meters to get this 100,000 here. You have to run 110 meters to get this 100,000 here. You have to run 2 kilometers to get this 100,000 here. Like, you go for the easiest. I'm going for this one. The shortest, the fastest. Boom. That's what I'm doing. So that's why I went goats first, because it's the quickest, fastest for a lot of different reasons. But this year was about me sort of learning that. I didn't realize I'd actually get to look at all three. I just wanted to learn a bit about farming. But these were things that I came across. I ran numbers. I met people who were on different farms. I'm constantly asking questions to get the information. And I really loved it. Great skill to have.
I think cattle just seem a lot easier, and there seems to be less downside. I don't think the upside's big, but given the reduced amount of effort, it probably seems to make more sense financially. Now, that might be wrong, because I haven't had a massive look into the numbers and everything, but this is this paddock. And the shed that we're in is like way back that way. You might be able to see the motorbikes out the back. The little white specks behind the cows. Mine's with me. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So this should be the last day here. What they're doing is they're drafting some dogs, keeping these cows here in this corner. What's going on in the yards, they're drafting, which means they're like sorting them.
These dogs here, absolutely fucking amazing. Like, wow, so well trained. Amazing dogs.
Into different, I don't know, whatever they're sorting them into for what they want to be the paddocks. Some of them are pregnant, some of them aren't. So you just sort of group them into one paddock. You can sort of group the calves together at the same time. It's just easier to track everything, how everything's moving. And if things go bad, it's easier to sell a certain group and you know exactly where they're at without having to redo the whole thing again.
This is a massive efficiency hack when you sort them into different groups. When you got big numbers like this, because I don't remember how many head of cattle they had. It's like 500 or something. But because you can only fit 90, I think we got like 90 bulls on a truck at once. Maybe they had 300. I don't remember. 250 cows or something. But yeah, sorting them into their groups for different reasons. So you sort them by age, you sort them by sex, you sort them by who's pregnant, who's not. Because if the ones aren't pregnant and you've still got time to get them pregnant, then you like basically put them in a rape chamber where they go in with extra bulls, so that the bulls are just fucking them all the time. Hopefully you get them pregnant really quickly, and if they don't get pregnant, they might just be a shit cow, so you sell them. But yeah, they're operations to make this drafting process in a good set of yards. These weren't the greatest set of yards, they're okay. Makes the operation much more profitable, which it's a business, so you have to be profitable, and it makes it a lot more efficient as well.
So it takes a lot of time. Yeah, should be the last day out here. Out here, it's very, very Australian outbacky, but it's been a good little run. Different, which has been nice. These pups are insane. They're so well trained. Crazy.
So this is pretty cool. So this is a road train with 3 trailers on it. All the cows that we loaded on here, I don't remember if they were being sold to abattoirs or sold to dealers or whatever. But I think on these 3, you get I can't remember how many cows. But this was about $500,000 on here. So I remember sort of looking at it, watching it come in, watching it drive off, and I was like, wow, that's like really interesting to see money in different ways. That was another interesting thing. Like I like seeing how many different ways you can basically make $1 million. or what $1 million looks like in different formats. And that's about $500,000 with the cattle that are on there, not including the truck. You include the truck, you're about 750 grand.
Dang. What a fucking cows.
So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because I need 1,000 subscribers before I can start making money off the channel. Which I like business, I like making money. So if you do that, that'd help me out. It's not going to happen for a while, so I'm never going to get bombarded with ads or anything. But let me know what you thought of the video. Drop a comment below. I don't give a shit if you like it, dislike it, whatever, but just engage with it because it helps get the video out there. Ask me some questions. What do you want to know about farms in Australia? What are some things, I don't know, is it something that you want to try? If it is something that you want to try, whether you're in Australia or not, and you want hookups to go and work on the farm, drop me a comment, send me a message, and I'll link you up with the people that I went and worked with because it's a brilliant, brilliant way to start to learn. And they've got, some big stations you get to go around. They're great, small, sort of family owned, so you don't get lost in numbers. Really cool. I know they'd be happy to take people on board. So if you are interested in that, let me know. If there's other things that you're interested in, why I did it, more about the old business I had, whatever it is, comment. Let me know what's going on. Back to you ASAP. But for now, going to leave it there. I'm going to go to sleep because in Medellin, which is where I'm living at the moment, Colombia, it's a little bit late and I'm tired. It's been a long day. I've been doing a lot of trading, options. Got a lot better with the options today. Sort of worked out the process a lot more, which when I get to the more present videos, I'll be able to show you guys what I'm sort of doing with trading, options, income strategies, and multiple income streams, because that's all very, very good fun, and it makes all my lifestyle, how I live, and my philosophy based around freedom, and particularly time freedom, very, very easily doable, and it's available to anyone. All right, guys, leave it there. I will talk to you later. Comment below. See ya.